Alright, so it is 3:20 p.m. now. I have been driving around since 2:15 trying to find a place to record this video, and I'm in my room, so I found nothing. It was either too windy, or there was nowhere to sit, or there was nowhere to put my camera. So yeah, I guess we'll just dive right into it. Alright, we'll start at the top. The first question is, what got you into fitness, and where do you see yourself in 5 years? Whew. It seems like with a lot of people in the fitness industry, you see their transformation video or whatever, and it was either that they were skinny their whole lives and then something clicked in them and they're like, alright, I'm just going to start going to the gym and building muscle, or they were overweight their whole lives and they're like, alright, I'm going to start going to the gym and lose all this weight. So yeah, it seems like most of the time it's like this eureka moment where they're like, I'm going to start doing this. Versus with me, I did gymnastics for basically my entire childhood until I was around the age of 12. And then I quit because I was getting injured too much. And I lost that like daily exercise, going somewhere and putting in a ton of work and then leaving feeling great. So around the age of like 14-ish, I noticed that my mom was going to Planet Fitness like 3 times a week, and I figured, oh, I'll just come along and just like mess around at the gym. And that's basically what I did. I just like only did chest and arms for months. When I first started training, I was going to Planet Fitness and doing like dumbbell press and curls, and like that was it. I didn't even know what training legs was. I didn't know what training back was. It was just like chest and arms all the time. And then once I started getting into it, I joined this gym right down the street from me that I can just walk to. That's much more of like a hardcore powerlifting and bodybuilding gym. And that's when I started reading a lot about just like doing research and learning about different training methods and diet and what to do, what not to do. And I started training legs and I started training back, and I was actually doing like the 3 big compound lifts, and that's where it really took off, and I was like, wow, I love doing this. And where do you see yourself in 5 years? I have no idea. Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. Like, obviously I want to stay, like I want to continue lifting and hopefully grow my social media, keep doing YouTube, but like where I see myself, I have no idea. What did you learn from your injury? I basically just learned that I'm an idiot when I'm feeling strong, and that I really should not max every single day just because I'm feeling strong in a particular week. What I learned in the long run is that if I do feel an injury, don't just train through it. Like, if it's a small pain or your chest is sore or whatever, yeah, you can keep training through it. But after you lift for a while, you kind of learn to distinguish between what is muscle soreness and what is an actual injury. And it's just stupid to continue training through an injury. Thoughts on intermittent fasting. Is it good? What does it do? I mean, if your goal is to lose weight and you're only eating for 8 out of your 16 waking hours, like if you limit your feeding window, then it's going to be much easier during that feeding window to not eat 3,000 calories, but you're going to be hungry for the first half of the day. Like, obviously if you're trying to lose weight and you want to be in a caloric deficit, then eating less often is going to make it easier to be in a caloric deficit. But do I think that intermittent fasting has any like magical hormonal benefits or something? No. From the research I've done, I don't think so. Your favorite food and soda? My favorite soda is definitely Dr. Pepper. And my favorite food, I mean, I could have a long talk about that, but my short, concise answer would probably be a bacon, egg, and cheese bagel from McDonald's. Throw and advice for girls who lift about progressing on the big lifts. The training principles for a girl are going to be the same training principles for a guy. You want to focus on progressive overload. You want to obviously be consistent, go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. or 6, and like, yeah, progressive overload. Try to use either more weight than you used last workout, or do more volume with the same weight. Like, the training principles between guys and girls are not different. Obviously, the only difference is the rate of progress. So, I mean, really the only advice I can give besides stick to regular training principles is, like, obviously don't compare yourself to your guy friends who are also going to the gym and like seeing their rate of progress, because that wouldn't be fair. How many calories did you first start eating when you started working out? Not enough, that's for sure, because I was like, when I first started working out, I didn't even know really anything. I was just going to Planet Fitness to do something active. And even when I started getting into fitness and I joined the gym down the street, I still didn't know as much as I know now, not nearly as much. So I was looking at like bodybuilding.com and stuff, and I was looking up to these pro bodybuilders who eat basically only lean chicken and rice and like vegetables, and they just eat a million of those meals a day. But I didn't really understand that with my metabolism being my 135-pound self, I literally just needed calories. I didn't need to worry about like, oh, am I getting 1 gram of protein per pound of body mass? I should have just ate everything that was in front of my face for my entire beginning lifting stage. What program have you seen the most amount of gains from? I mean, in terms of size, probably my own, because I just know what my body responds to really well. And yeah, that's basically it. I just know what worked for me. So when I started programming for myself, I made a lot of size gains. But in terms of strength, it was probably when I was prepping for the World Championships in Belarus. I got like online coaching from my friend Winston Tom. I'll link his Instagram in the description. And basically what that was I paid him by the month, and he wrote me a personalized program that he filled in every week. And like, we stayed in close contact so he could monitor all of my lifts and how my progress was going. And yeah, my strength shot up when I started doing that. What muscle groups are your strong points and what are your weak points? I'd have to say my biceps are probably my strongest point. I never actually train them directly. Like, if I'm feeling it, I might do some curls, but most of the time I just do back accessories and then my biceps just grow. My chest is probably a strong point, my shoulders, and my glutes and hamstrings. And then my weak points would be my quads, my back, maybe? I don't know. And my calves. Let's not even talk about the calves, alright? Next question. What's the one thing that you would tell your past self lifting wise? That's a good one. Oh, for sure, get on a program. Because when I first started lifting, and even when I was really getting into lifting, I YOLO'd all of my workouts, which I can afford to do now because I know what the hell I'm doing. But when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing, but I wasn't on a program either. So like, I could have milked my beginner gains so much more if I'd gotten on a structured program, and if I'd obviously eaten more food. How to eliminate fat off of the obliques. Spot reduction is a myth, doesn't happen. So you can't do like side crunches or whatever and only burn fat off of your obliques. The only thing you can do to lose fat off of a specific muscle group is to lose fat over your whole body, and then by default the fat over that muscle group will also be lost. But if you genetically hold more fat over your obliques, there's nothing non-surgical that you can do about that besides losing weight. Are you going to post more on YouTube? Well, I'm making a video right now. Best supplements: creatine monohydrate and whey protein. Favorite pre-workout: Dust Extreme. That shit tasted horrible, but the effects were insane. Like, blew every other pre-workout out of the water. I don't think the original Dust Extreme is still sold anymore. I'm pretty sure Blackstone Labs got raided by the FDA or something. And that's how you know the pre-workout was really good. What do you want your all-time PRs to be? As high as possible. And, like, as high as I can get naturally, that's what I want my all-time PRs to be. But in terms of where I will be satisfied, I'd say like a 635 squat, a 405 bench, and a 700-pound deadlift. I would be very satisfied with those lifts. But obviously, once I hit like 405 bench, I'm not just gonna say, all right, done, fitness over. Like, I'm gonna keep working up from there, but like benching 425 is not going to be nearly as satisfying as when I first benched 405 because it's just such a huge milestone. Someone asked how to achieve 315 squat, 225 bench, 405 deadlift, and someone responded to that comment and said eat food and progressive overload, and yeah, they basically answered the question for me. There's no magic way to get up to those lifts. Like, you can have all the passion in the world and you can want to go into the gym every single day and like kill it every single day, and maybe you do, but that doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, keep up that passion, keep up that consistency, but you're also going to need to learn patience, because these gains are not just going to like appear once you try hard enough. You actually have to go to the gym every day, or most days out of the week, every month, and then eventually you'll get there. How long have you been lifting for, and when do you plan on doing your next meet? I've been lifting, like, I first went to Planet Fitness like a little over 4.5 years ago, and then I first joined Hard Knocks, which is the gym down the street, about 4 years ago. When do I plan on doing my next meet? Once my hamstring is healed and I feel like I'm at least moderately competitive again, but right now it's still rehab mode and I'm not going to do a meet anytime soon. Is strength really important for hypertrophy? Yes, 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 yes. Yes, strength is so important for hypertrophy. Let's say your bench goes from 315 to 350 over the course of 6 months or whatever. It would probably be longer than that. All of the volume you do, like, you know, when you do your sets of 8, that's also going to go up. So instead of doing, you know, 240 for sets of 8, now you're going to be doing 255 to 260 for sets of 8. So your 1 RM strength on all the lifts is going to carry over to the weight you use during the muscle building sets, such as like the sets of 6 to 8. So yes, strength is very important for hypertrophy. Progressive overload is key to hypertrophy, and progressive overload essentially means getting stronger over time, one way or another. Staying lean while powerlifting, I don't know. I don't know how I stay lean. I'm sorry. I have no magic bullet for you. I know people hate this answer, but a lot of it is genetically determined. Past genetics, you can obviously do stuff conducive to staying lean. So maintain your body weight and try to do like a body recomp where you build muscle and lose fat. I mean, I don't have much experience on this topic because I've never cut in my life, never intentionally cut, and I don't actively pursue staying lean when I'm powerlifting. It just happens, like genetically it just happens. So I've never had to do extensive research on how to do it. Next question, how do you stay lean all the time? I don't know. Benefits of cold showers. For me, the main reason that I do it is you get a boost of energy throughout the day, and it's also self-discipline, which has been extensively studied in psychology, and there are a lot of benefits to disciplining yourself in different areas of your life. But if you look up the benefits of cold showers, there are a ton of others that I probably do experience, but that's not why I do it. But I know that some of the benefits are like improved mood, faster muscle recovery, it boosts your immune system, and there's some other stuff. But yeah, I basically just do it for energy and discipline. Choice of music during heavy days. I only listen to Future when I lift. I don't know why, but that's just like what gets me fired up. How did you get your actual physique? What program or programs did you follow? And did you have a coach for your powerlifting meets or just followed a generic program? Yeah, I had a coach for Worlds, definitely. And how did I get my physique? What program or programs did you follow? I followed Dave's second program. I don't think I ever did his first program. I did his free DUP. And yeah, that's basically it, besides the program my coach wrote. The amount of protein, carbs, and fats you eat daily and how you track them. I do not track my macros. I have no idea how many grams of protein, carbs, fats I eat at all. I just try to stay conscious about my protein consumption and make sure that I'm getting adequate protein, and the rest just kind of falls into place. Do you believe that anyone can pull a lot of weight, let's just say 500 pounds, or can genetics stop some people? I'd say that like 99% of guys on the planet, healthy, normal guys with like no, 99% of that average male population will be able to deadlift 500 pounds if they consistently train and train properly and eat properly and all that kind of stuff. And then I don't really know what the percentage for girls would be, but I know that there are a lot of girls in USAPL that deadlift 500 pounds naturally, and it's not like they're super heavy or anything. I think there's some girls that are my body weight in USAPL that are deadlifting around 500 pounds, and then there's a lot of 83 kilo girls, which is like 184 pounds or something. Or no, they're 84 kilo, 83's guys. Yeah, so 84 kilos is like 185, I think. There's plenty of those girls that are deadlifting 500 plus. And USAPL is drug tested. A lot of the girls at the top are drug tested randomly, which means out of meet. People from USAPL will just show up at their house and make them pee in a cup, and like there's no way for them to avoid that drug test, and there's no way for them to time their cycle to like stop it right before a meet or stop it right before a drug test, because like I said, it's random. They have no idea when it's going to happen. So I know that I got pulled out of this like graduation ceremony at my high school because someone from USAPL showed up at my house and I wasn't there, and he called me and asked me where I was, and I said, I'm at this graduation award ceremony, and he showed up at my school and pulled me out, and I was in like the robe and everything. I had the cap on, and yeah, he watched me pee in a cup. Fight 100 duck-sized David Lades or one David Lade-sized duck. I mean, I'd feel bad either way, because with 100 duck-sized David Lades, I'd just be like kicking them. Like, that wouldn't be a hard fight, but I'd feel bad because it would just be a bunch of small Daves that I'm like killing. But one duck-sized David Lade or one David Lade-sized duck would probably peck me to death. So I definitely have to choose the 100 duck-sized David Lades. How do you manage to stay so lean at all times? Genetics. Just sweep that one right under the rug. I will say, and this might be bro science, but, well, no, it's not necessarily bro science. One of the benefits of cold showers is that it increases fat metabolism, and you can look at the study and look into this. And I have noticed that I've gotten just a little bit leaner since I've been taking cold showers every day. Any tips for fixing overextension in the squat and deadlift? I assume you mean back extension, like lumbar extension, because there's many different kinds of extension. What I did to fix that, because I used to have the same problem, is I just focus on pulling my ribs down towards my hips, which involves flexing the obliques and keeping the core very braced, obviously. And yeah, when you focus on pulling your ribs down to your hips, that really engages your whole core and keeps your back flat. What is the highest/lowest body fat you have been, and do you notice any differences both strength-wise and in general? Since I started lifting, I've basically maintained the same body fat percentage. Like the fluctuations have not been huge. There are definitely some times that I can remember where I was like a little bit fluffier or a little bit leaner, but they haven't been huge differences. And for the leanest I've ever been, if you scroll all the way down to my Instagram, I'll just do it right now. Almost exactly 3 years ago, Oh, damn. That's crazy. But yeah, this, I don't know if you can see it. Focus. Focus. There we go. Yeah, that's the leanest I've ever been. When did you start to see your muscles grow and get some size in your time working out? Once I left Planet Fitness. Like, when I was going to Planet Fitness, I might have gained around 5 pounds of muscle, but I went there for months. And it is inexcusable to only put on 5 pounds of muscle when you first start lifting after months of training. But once I went to Hard Knocks, that's really when, like, the beginner gains kicked in. And I was doing, you know, flat bench press, flat barbell bench press, squats, deadlifts, and, like, focusing on the main compounds. And that's when I started slabbing muscle onto my frame. I'm finishing up a cut and I've noticed that my arms have really shrunk. How long will it take them to get back to where they were? Not as long as it took them to get to that size in the first place, because it is much easier to put muscle back on. Like, if you build the muscle and then lose it, it's much easier to put it back on after that point than to initially build it in the first place. What were your lifts when you first started? Well, when I went to Planet Fitness, there wasn't any free weight squat, bench, or deadlift. So all I know is that I was doing like 35-pound dumbbells for sets of 8. And it was like pretty hard. So once I went to Hard Knocks, I kind of already had like a bit of a strength base, but not in my legs. My legs were very weak. I hardly ever hit legs when I was going to Planet Fitness. So my first ever squat was around 250 pounds, and my first ever deadlift was around 300, and my first ever bench was around 185. If you had to choose a 700-pound squat or deadlift, which would it be? Whatever you don't choose is stuck at 405. Oh, that's a tough one. Even though a 700-pound squat is generally more impressive than a 700-pound deadlift, I'd probably still go with the 700-pound deadlift because I love deadlifting, and I would hate to step into a gym and only be able to pull a 405. That would suck. I mean, it would suck for squats too, but it would suck way more for deads. How long did it take you to hit certain milestones? Example, bench 225, squat 315, deadlift 405. I'm a 225 bench. I think it took me like a couple months because I came in benching 185 already. A lot of that was background strength from gymnastics, because gymnastics gets you very strong. Then some of it was from going to Planet Fitness. And then to get a 315 squat, that took a little bit longer, probably 4 or 5 months. And then a 405 deadlift was probably 6 to 8 months in the gym. Mindset when dealing with an injury that lasts a long time. My mindset dealing with the hamstring injury was like, it's winter, just wear sweatpants, you'll be back in the gym soon. Like, nobody really cares that much besides you, as in myself. And I know the person who asked this too. And I think, what are you, 18 years old or something? At the end of the day, we're going to be lifting for decades, like many more decades. And even if you have to take 6 months off of a lift, which is what I had to do, it is literally not going to matter in the long run. It's going to be a drop in the bucket. So just knowing that nothing has to happen right now, and yeah, just knowing that like you want to be healthy when you're 50, you don't want to just train through the pain right now. What did you do to build a huge squat? Well, I never really had a huge squat compared to other 74 kilo guys, but yeah, what did I do? Because my squat used to be pretty weak compared to my other lifts. I think just really recategorizing how I treated the lift in my mind and not treating it as a chore, but instead as something that I enjoyed doing, made it something that I enjoyed doing. And once I enjoyed doing it, I put in a lot of effort into those days and I looked forward to squatting. That's when my squat strength started to go up. Is there any point in doing a mini cut mid-bulk? No. Like, finish your bulk and then cut. Good program for an intermediate lifter. If your lifts are around a 315 squat, 225 bench, and 405 deadlift, then David Lade's second program, which I don't know if he still puts them in the description of his videos, but if you scroll down super far to like his 3-year-old videos, it should be in there. His second program is pretty good. What is your diet? Everything. How to get a bigger bench arch? Well, I've had a lot of experienced powerlifters tell me that this is bro science and doesn't work. But what worked for me was foam rolling, like putting a foam roller on the bench and then laying with my lower back on the foam roller and like arching my back and rolling back and forth over the foam roller. It's not going to increase your spine's ability to bend, but if you have really tight muscles around the spine that are limiting your ability to arch, then it will definitely fix that. How would you program with someone not competing? What difference would it have from a competitive powerlifter's programming? Basically, if someone is in the off season, like they're not getting ready for any meet, there's a lot more flexibility to work on their weaknesses. So I remember my lockout used to be slow on bench. So what my coach had me do for a whole block, he had me only do close grip bench. I literally did no competition with bench for that whole 5 weeks. And once we transitioned back into comp grip, it was kind of awkward at first, but that lockout strength that I got from the close grip block really carried over, and I no longer had any issues with locking out on bench anymore. So yeah, basically if someone's in the off season, there's a lot more flexibility to work on their weaknesses and not be super specific. But if someone's preparing for a meet, specificity is going to be super important, and you're basically going to want to prioritize like 75% of each workout into like just the main lifts. How often do you train abs? I never train abs directly. What is your height? I'm 8'3". I've said this on multiple occasions. That's the last time I'm answering that question. Any advice on how to eat 5,000 plus calories per day? No, because if I had that advice, I'd give it to myself, and that's what I would be doing. Top lifts for being aesthetic. Standing overhead press is a great one because that builds huge shoulders. Dumbbell press and barbell bench press, both of those are great for chest. Weighted pull-ups and lat pull-downs are great for the V-taper. And then for legs, squats and deadlifts. Best calorically dense bulking and low calorie but voluminous, that's a good word, foods for cutting. For cutting, eat a lot of salads, eat a lot of fruits, eat a lot of vegetables, because as you probably know, fiber fills you up, quote unquote, and it's undigestible. So you can eat 1,000,000 grams of fiber, hypothetically, and it wouldn't be digested for any caloric use. So you won't put on any body weight from it besides the actual weight of the fiber, which you poop out anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then for bulking, I mean, there's a lot of different foods. Like, I guess I'll just give examples of what I eat because I'm always trying to bulk. But this is also a college student's diet because I have a food card, so I can go to the dining hall and get whatever food I want whenever I want. But usually when I go there, I'll get 2 burgers with a plate of fries, a plate of fruit, and a couple glasses of chocolate milk. And I'll sit there for about an hour trying to finish as much food as I can. And I throw the fruit in on the side because even though I just said that that's what you should use for cutting, you also need your micronutrients even if you're bulking. And you also need to get fiber even if you're bulking. So yeah, that's why I throw that fruit plate in there. And I probably should have made this more clear. Obviously, just eating salads and fruit, you're not going to get nearly enough protein while you're trying to cut. So really the big thing about cutting is limiting your fat intake, because fat is very calorically dense. Protein and carbs are not really that calorically dense. So if you can just get pure whey protein that has no fat in it, no carbs in it, like, it's a very good way to get protein. You can eat lean chicken, has like no fat in it, no carbs in it. Like lean ground beef, like 90 to 93%. And then there's also like vegetarian options, like quinoa has a lot of protein in it, I'm pretty sure. Beans and rice have a lot of protein. But oh yeah, I didn't finish the bulking foods that I eat on a day-to-day basis. Usually my breakfast looks something like a farmhouse bagel from this place on campus, which is egg, cheese, bacon, ham, cream cheese on a bagel. It's amazing. And coffee. And then my lunch is usually the burger with the fries and the fruit and the chocolate milk. And then I'll have like a mass gainer shake, and I'll go to the gym, and then I'll come back and have a couple of sandwiches or whatever they're serving in the dining hall at that time. Why don't you take the stuff out of your pockets before snapping a selfie? Honestly, I just don't think of it. Like, I didn't realize that it looked unappealing, but I will start doing that if it makes you happy. What are your expectations from social media / fitness? I mean, it would be awesome to build like a decent sized following and have influence, like be an influencer. It would just be cool to be able to like share my thoughts with a lot of people at once and inspire a lot of people at once, and just like make cool content. It's genuinely fun to edit a video and like have it look all nice. So yeah, I don't have any like set goals in mind. I just kind of want to expand my name. Who do you think has the best aesthetic genetics in the world? Probably, in my opinion, probably Jeff Side. Either him or David Lade. How do you grow your shoulders? Standing barbell overhead press, seated dumbbell overhead press, and seated one-arm lateral raises. What do you like to do in your free time besides lift? I mean, what I like to do and what I actually do are two very different things. What I actually do in my free time besides lift is usually homework, unfortunately. But what I would like to do is travel around. That's like my ultimate goal, is to be able to travel the world. I think that's a pretty common goal across a lot of people. I think everyone likes traveling. What are the best knee sleeves? For me, SBD makes the best knee sleeves. How much more of your natural muscle mass do you think you can still attain in pounds? I mean, that depends. If my body fat percentage changes, then who knows? Like, if I bulked up to 300 pounds, I'd probably put on like at least 60 pounds of muscle, but I'd also be fat. But staying at this body fat percentage, maybe like another 15 pounds of muscle, 20 pounds of muscle. I'm really not sure. I'm just kind of just gonna continue training and like see where I end up. Go-to chest exercise for that shelf look? Incline bench, incline barbell bench probably. What can we expect if we DM you for personal training? Is it more cookie cutter or hands-on? No, it's individualized personal training, which means I send you a bunch of questions, a questionnaire, you fill it out, and then as I'm making your program, I'm going to ask you a ton more questions, and then I will produce a program that works for you. So it's not cookie cutter. I probably should have made that more clear, that it's individualized, personalized, and it's not like I just make the program and then that's what you do for a month. I make the program and then I fill it in every week and make adjustments as needed. Would you stop lifting forever for $1 million? I plan on making $1 million anyway, so absolutely not. And even if it were $1 trillion, it wouldn't matter, because money is just a means to an end, which is happiness, and lifting makes me happy, so why the hell would I stop doing something that makes me happy for money? Why does Lex have acne? Because he's 17 years old and his testosterone levels are through the roof for that reason. How many calories a day are you eating currently? Again, I don't track macros, but if I had to guess, I'd say 3,000 to 3,500. Is Stick Talk the most alpha song available in the world right now? Yes, it is. What made you major in computer science? On a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult is it? In terms of mental exertion, I'd say it can be as hard as a 9.5, but usually it averages out around an 8. And what made me major in it was that I didn't know what I wanted to do when I came into college. I went in for undeclared engineering my first semester, and then I met a bunch of CS majors by chance. And I said, oh, okay, I'll like try computer science, and then I ended up really enjoying it. When are you coming to England? I will be in Germany on May 13th. I will not be in England, I don't think. Collab with Lex Little, it's in the works. We both definitely want to. Would you rather not have knees or not have elbows? I'd say probably not have knees because prosthetics would be pretty easy, just like a simple hinge joint. I could just wear sweatpants all the time. But if I had to get prosthetic elbows, I'd ruin my beautiful arms, and I can't be having that, so. My guy, how often do you train your arms? Every time I hit chest, I inadvertently train my triceps, even though I don't do tricep isolation super often. And every time I train back, I inadvertently train my biceps. Like 3 times a week for each, twice a week for each, something like that. How come you went dark for so long? Glad you're back, you succulent white male. What the fuck? I went dark for so long from like social media and YouTube because school was really hard, and I went dark from YouTube because I was unmotivated and just generally beta and stupid, and I was like, oh, I don't have enough time for YouTube because school is hard. But school is still hard, and I made time for YouTube because I want to. So it's really just a time management issue. Are there ever times when you feel like stopping lifting? Like stopping a workout? Yes. Stopping lifting? No. Your thoughts on steroids? If someone wants to take steroids, I'm totally okay with that, as long as this is the only condition where I'm not cool with someone taking steroids, is if they take steroids and then they claim natural, and then in one way or another they profit off of their natural claim when they are actually on gear. Not to call out any names, but there was someone a while ago who was juiced up to his teeth, and he sold some kind of duck egg or something, some kind of egg weird shit, and he said that that was responsible for like increasing his testosterone or something like that, and it was like $100 egg, and like the dude was on trend. So don't do that. That's ethically wrong. But if you want to take gear, I'm not saying you have to talk about it with everyone, but just don't claim natural, and especially don't profit off of it. And thoughts on steroids for myself, at least for the foreseeable future, I want to stay natural because right now, looking at the side effects, it doesn't seem worth it at all, especially since the physique that I want, like the ultimate physique I want, I personally believe can be achieved naturally. It will just take longer. So, it's not really worth expediting the process for a bunch of side effects. Current supplement stack, creatine, and mass gainer. What's it like to meet Dave and Dylan? I mean, when I first met them, it was amazing because these were people that I'd looked up to for so long, but after getting to know Dave really well, and like we're basically best friends now, it's not like I look up to him in the same way. I don't look up to him as like this fitness idol. I more just look up to him as a person, as I'd look up to any one of my other friends. Do you use stiff or flexible wrist straps? I use stiff wrist straps. What size are your feet? Fuck, marry, kill. David Lade, Lex Little, Russell Orhe. I mean, I don't want to kill any of those people. But I'd probably fuck Lex Little. And I'd marry David Lade. And unfortunately, I'd have to kill Russ. Favorite influencer and why? I mean, I don't really have a famous influencer. Did I say famous? I meant favorite. I don't really have a favorite influencer because I don't really like idolize people in the same way that I used to when I first started training. I'd honestly say my favorite influencer right now is Lex, because that's kind of like with someone like Dave, he's so far above where I am in like the social media world and everything that it almost seems unattainable from here. But with Lex, it's like he has 3 times the amount of followers that I have and gets like 3 times the amount of likes on his pictures that I get and everything. And he's got like way more subscribers than me on YouTube, but it's still like attainable. So it kind of shows me like this is where you can be in, like a few months from now to a year from now if you put your mind to it. Why do you continue to powerlift? Because I thoroughly enjoy it. What's your star sign? I think I'm a Virgo. Is it Virgo or Virgo? Virgo? I don't know. I don't know this shit, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I am. Who was your childhood best friend? The person who asked this question. What are some of your goals? I would like to make a lot of money. And that's not so I can have materialist stuff, it's so I can have financial freedom. And I don't have to be limited in any way, shape, or form besides what I actually do or don't do. I don't want to be limited by something stupid such as money. And the ultimate goal is to leave humanity, when I die, in a better state than it was before, and a better state than it would be had I not existed. Alright, that's mostly all of the questions, excluding repeats. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know how to do a proper outro, so subscribe to PewDiePie.